Hi, it's Benjamin Douglas Ray with another edition of, come on, of Sustainable Cannabis TV. So my guest today had an issue. Their company's going through a SPAC. You're seeing those all over the place, SPAC, blank check companies, whatever you want to call them. Interesting to look into if you don't know about it. So hence, you've got me today. So what I wanted to talk to you today about is why a lot of cannabis companies and cannabis and companies in general are not doing the right thing. And what I mean by that is when companies know better and when people know better, they choose not to do something. And I've seen this many times and in this industry, and I'm not quite sure why it is, but I think it's because it's, federally illegal. So a lot of people will say, well, it's kind of still in the shadows. Well, we can do things. It's not quite legal. So there's this kind of air of, I can kind of cut corners, and it doesn't make sense. It hasn't been good for the industry, for so long to come through this evolution. But now, and I'm not concerned about the past. What I am concerned about right now is what I'm concerned about right now. There are some issues here with the StreamYard. I'm concerned now, going back 50 years, 20 years, 30 years, last year, whatever that is, today moving forward, companies and people have the choice in this industry to do the right thing. There are all these excuses. Let's talk about sustainability, for example. So, well, I can't do that because it costs too much. Well, what does it cost for, let's say, a package that is sustainable? 10 cents more, 20 cents more? Or, well, I can't do that because there are all these excuses that keep coming up. And we have the opportunity right now in this industry to level set and say, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to base the decisions on other industries. We're saying, this is what we are going to be, and this is what we choose to be. And we're going to live with our actions, whether good or bad. And I've seen that time and time again also, where people will make a decision. And if it goes bad, then they say, it's not my fault, or they actually blame somebody else and don't even acknowledge that it was something that they did. It's more like, well, that happened because, excuses before, excuses after, kind of like Gary Vee says, and a lot of these guys about accepting personal responsibility. Accept it and deal with the consequences, whether you're a company or an individual, is just accept the consequences, good or bad, because that's what it means to take responsibility and to be accountable for your actions. There are companies that are still in this industry, startups or other, that are acting like it's the 80s with, Gordon Gekko, kind of corporate raider style. And it doesn't make sense to mess with people, with partners, with consumers, with anything just because you want to make more money. And over the past, couple of months, we've had a lot of conversations about this. I think a lot of people who are in this mindset of sustainability are ones who are choosing to do the right thing. But there are others who just simply won't, who will ignore the rules. I did a post last year, this was March or April, about why a lot of cannabis companies choose not to do child resistant packages. And I know this is controversial. A lot of people say, well, there's too much plastic, takes too much money, takes too much time, but it is really doing the right thing to make your packages child resistant. That was a big controversy. I see the pluses and minuses on both sides of the equation, but it is the right thing to do. We also need it in the alcohol industry. We need it for a lot more. And I know a lot of people disagree with that, especially for flower, and I can see that. But there, this industry really, as a collective, really needs to band together to do a lot more, all up and down the supply chain, all through lobbying efforts, all through education and information. And it is key. Information and education are key in this industry, because if we don't step up and do the right thing, and the right thing isn't gray. They're not, there's right things that you can do and there are wrong things that you can do. You follow the regulations in this industry. You don't try to cut corners. As I was saying before, I saw a lot of companies that would not do things. They would have their SOPs sitting up on their shelf in case the inspectors came in, but they didn't follow those rules. And they're like, well, if I get caught, I'll fix it. And when we went rec here in Colorado, we had something like 45 days if you had an infraction. So a lot of people, what they did is they purposefully did the wrong thing because they didn't want to follow the rules. And they're like, well, if an inspector comes in, I've got 45 days to cure that, so it's no big deal. But that is not the way to run a cannabis company or any company or anything in your life for that matter. Step up and just do the right thing from the beginning. People know what's right and they know what's wrong. If there's a feeling that, well, I'm going to, that's doing the wrong thing, because that implies that, well, if I don't get caught, I'm going to keep moving forward with it. That's not the right thing to do. We live in a society that has rules, and there are rules. The rules are there for a reason, whether people like them or not. Compliance is there for a reason. So I would recommend to any of you in this industry, whether you're in it, whether you want to get into it, step up, have a voice, and lead this industry. Don't just follow, lead this industry and do good things, treat people well. Absolutely have the opportunity to change public opinion about this industry by being kind of a normalized business, by coming out of the shadows and doing what's right. So that's all I have for today. I want to say my partners in this business here, in this show, that support this business and this message, U.S. Cannabis Pharmaceutical Research and Development, Sustainable Cannabis Coalition, similar to mine, different company run by Peter, and also 8 Saints brand organic hemp CBD products, and also Bud's Feed. So check all those out. The show is also supported by donations. If you like the show, you can help continue it by donating a small amount to keep it going. And let's get this industry moving in the right direction. All right, everyone, you have a great day.